First off, some apologies if you're already been a subscriber. You'll probably hear some redundant information. I will add a few new things, but apologies if I'm sort of repeating myself. So a major issue within the fandom is who is Mathis? For those completely unaware, Dr. Mathis is actually a canonical character. He is not shown on screen, but they do talk about him in Halloween 2. And right away with Halloween Ends, people are going to be like, well, that's interesting, that's nice, that doesn't matter. They wiped out the sequels. Well, no, because in Halloween Kills, he's mentioned again. The exact character we're talking about is unclear, because within Halloween Kills, all we get is he sort of is a weird guy. He throws these odd Halloween parties. That's about it. Nothing else is said. So we don't have much to go on. But in terms of the canon question, I double checked, and again, I want to stress Wikipedia is not always reliable. But early on, the writers actually did admit that in their minds, the first two films, not just the first film, was canonical, and they were going to try to craft a story keeping the two films in mind. Now, of course, when we see Halloween 2018, it appears that Halloween 2 is no longer canonical, but they are using things from Halloween 2. Now the question becomes, is this Mathis character even real? Will he appear? Well, the actor who was supposed to play Mathis did announce that he was going to play Mathis in his Twitter account. He put out a tweet, but then the tweet was deleted. Now, some fans have speculated it was deleted because Universal told him that he needed to lay low and not be very obvious, and so he deleted the tweet. And some people, like Wolfman Got Nards, think this is a bit of a conspiracy theory. There's not much to it. Now, I agree that it could be that there's just a lot of nothing. Maybe they just wanted a cameo with this canonical character. Things didn't work out. He's going to be cut. So the reason he doesn't appear in promotional material is he was going to be a cameo. It was going to be a nice little Easter egg. That's the end of it. Nothing else. He's not the copycat killer. He doesn't play a big role. We're done. It's totally possible, but there is some circumstantial evidence. And again, I want to stress Wikipedia is not always reliable. But the Wikipedia, the last time I checked, this was around early 5 a.m. where I am, which is the East Coast of the United States. It does say that Omar Dorsey is going to return as Barker, the sheriff, which now is confirmed. In one of the ads, we do see the sheriff. That is confirmed. And yes, it does confirm that Michael O'Leary is still Mathis. Now, again, that's Wikipedia. This is not the official media from Universal. Again, it could be wrong. Wikipedia is often wrong. Maybe the information needs to be updated. Let's assume this is correct. Well, who is this Mathis character, and why is it likely that O'Leary playing him will be the copycat killer? For one thing, if you do look up Michael O'Leary, again, I want to stress I'm not trying to have a fight with Wolfman Got Nards, but if you did a little bit more research, you would have noticed that, yes, it's true he's a minor character actor, but he's tall. I was able to find his height, and at least his height is listed as very tall, so it is plausible he could play Michael just based on height. He also fits the age, because in the ad, we don't see clearly, but we see one of the Michaels rising. And it can't be Corey because the person looks too old. And even for the unmasking, again, the face looks a little too old. It's very hard because we don't get a full shot, but whoever this Michael is a much older person. How old? We don't quite know. They have to be sufficiently tall to pass for Michael, which, again, Corey cannot be because he's much smaller. It could be the actor Rohan was just wearing boots, and therefore the character Corey will pretend to be taller. That's perfectly possible. Maybe he still is the only copycat killer. But again, Michael as an actor does fit this way more. He does have the height, he does have the build, and he is the right age group, and they've already had him mentioned in Halloween Kills, so he already is a part of the story. So again, there's no guarantee he will show up, but it is plausible he is the copycat killer. But beyond that, we don't quite know what the agenda will be. All we know is he throws these weird sex parties. That's about it. So he's kind of a weird person operating within Haddonfield. That's about it. We're supposing that they're going to keep the story they've kept from Halloween Kills, but we know they've made various changes. So maybe Mathis at one point was a big character, but they changed their minds because they've changed a lot of things from Halloween Kills to Halloween Ends. But what makes us think there is even a copycat? Well, again, it's kind of negative information because with Hori, we finally do have some photos, some images, some dialogue. But with Mathis, nothing. We don't seem to have him in any of the media, any of the TV spots, any of the interviews, any of the behind the scenes. It's nothing. We aren't getting even a single image of Mathis. So that's very suspicious. If it's really just a small cameo, or if it was going to be cut, it often does happen when we will catch behind the scenes a scene that is ultimately never in the film, but is in behind the scenes footage. We're not getting anything. It's just very curious. Again, this is very negative information, but we do have some positive clues it should be or could be Mathis. Now, what exactly is the agenda of this copycat killer? That I think we really don't know. We don't have anything to really speculate upon. But I don't think it'll be entirely friendly because we do see at least one scene where, quote, the fake Michael and the real Michael seem to be facing off. So presumably either this copycat killer Mathis was using Michael, but ultimately planned to betray him, or it's just kind of this marriage of convenience. And even in the interview, David Gordon Green doesn't really talk about Corey per se. He just says there's a colleague that reawakened Michael and inspires him to sort of go on a rampage again. It doesn't necessarily say Corey. He does mention Corey as a kind of new kid on the block, but he says these things separately. So it could be he's being very clever. They are implying it is only Corey. He's the only copycat killer. There's no other copycat killer. But I think it is Mathis. Again, it could be he's not going to appear at all in the film. Maybe they'll use somebody else. But if he does appear and he does have the appearance of Michael Leary as we see him, then again, he could be another false clue, but it is likely he could be at least one of the copycat killers. And that is Mathis, and he has been mentioned already. So we know a little bit about him, and it kind of disproves what people think that only Halloween 1978 is canonical. They are kind of breaking the rules by using characters and events from Halloween 2. Again, it could just be a big Easter egg. There's nothing else going on. It's just an Easter egg, even if he does appear, but it could be something more. So we have at least a little bit of circumstantial evidence. Again, granted, not a lot, but some circumstantial evidence that Mathis is doing something in Halloween Ends, and he may be indeed the copycat killer.